What is going on YouTube? My name is Lucas and today I'm going to be providing a video on if Donald Trump wins the election, what stocks should we be looking towards as investors? And I did a video recently on Joe Biden and now I think it's time to do Donald Trump. I think as investors we just need to understand, the diversification that each party presents, and as we continue to move forward towards the election, we just need to be prepared. So, if you're interested in this topic, I suggest you stay tuned right after this. Before we dive into talking stocks and Donald Trump, I ask that you guys smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, comment down below, and now it's time to get into the video. I'm going to come right out the gate and let you guys know that these are not political by any means. These are strictly for stock purposes, and that's exactly what I'm going to do, is provide you stock perspective if either one were to win. This video is going to be based on Donald Trump, and you guys know how I am with statistics. I enjoy providing statistics, and I'm going to dive right into that immediately. And the reason is because this article is going to talk about what happens when presidents are typically re-elected, what happens to the stock market. So swinging on over here, if you own stocks, hope for a come from behind win for sitting President Donald J. Trump on election day, or so says the number crunchers at LPL Financial. Since 1950, the S&P 500 has added an average of 9.6% in the year after a president wins re-election. For instance, LPL Financial points to the re-elections of President Ronald Reagan, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama as being particularly bullish for equities. Stocks after each re-election rose close to 30%. 30%! The opposite has tended to happen when someone new enters the Oval Office. LPL Financial data shows the S&P 500 added only 4.8% the following year of a new presidency. It has been higher only 50% of the time. Think about it. Usually when a president wins re-election, it means the economy is going to be pretty strong, so stocks tend to do well. LPL Financial Chief Marketing Strategist Ryan Dietrich explained of the disparity. The flip side is that new leadership in Washington can bring with it potential change that could rock the boat and hold stocks back. That said, the up-and-coming election and aftermath is anything but normal. In many respects, it could prove to be real statistical outlier. Stocks are flirting with record highs again on hopes of a blue wave on election day. In turn, that would make it easier for President Biden to pass a badly needed stimulus plan north of $2 trillion of jumpstart an economy ailing from the coronavirus. And that's one thing I really want to hit on. I think if Donald Trump is reelected, I think then we can really start hitting home on the stimulus package that is going to be provided back to the American people. I think that's kind of a hiccup right now, and I think that's a big time thing that's causing the stock market to drive down. I also feel that obviously with elections, anytime an election comes up, the stock market tends to go in the downward direction. And the reason is just because there's an unknown. Like it's stated, if you get a new president, just like anything, if you get someone new in a position, they're obviously going to come in and they're going to make some changes. They wanted to get to things that, feel comfortable to them, or they know may start to help them in that manner. I did the video on Joe Biden, and I think those are some things that Joe Biden would immediately jump into. And I'm not going to talk about too much in this video because this is about Donald Trump. But as we continue to move forward, I think if Donald Trump is reelected, there are definitely going to be some major stocks to look at. The first sector that I really want to hit on is going to be energy. So if Donald Trump is reelected, I feel that obviously the green new emissions type thing will still start to occur, but it won't be as fast of a rate. So I think energy is going to be one that Donald Trump is obviously guarding, and I think rightfully so. I think some aspects of that, there's jobs and things like that. So swinging on over here, energy has been in the doghouse for years, and it's possible we haven't seen the bottom yet. Fundamentally, we're looking at a structural oversupply for the foreseeable future. American frackers were a little too good at their jobs, bringing in massive new supplies of crude oil online. That's the narrative, but there comes a point when the stock is too cheap to ignore, and we might be at that point in ExxonMobil. XOM is trading at prices last seen in the early 2000s and sports a dividend yield of nearly 10%. Realistically, fossil fuels will not be a major growth industry again anytime soon. It might never be again. But as we've seen with tobacco stocks, industries in a general decline can make solid investments if bought at the right prices. A Trump administration would not reverse the trends affecting energy prices. That's likely beyond the power of any president, but it would be less hostile to the sector and less likely to slap it with new taxes or regulations. We expect a second Trump administration to look for ways to further deregulate or otherwise encourage fossil fuel production. Fundamentally different policies from a Biden White House would push for higher carbon controls, strict limits on coal mining, and reduced fracking, which obviously I talked about in the Joe Biden video. I think that is definitely a direction in which we've heard them wanting to go. So that is why I think I wanted to provide this in the Donald Trump one, because I definitely feel that he is driven by, that aspect, energy and staying with what we know best. Sector that I feel will be very successful under another 4 years of Donald Trump, and I honestly have kind of been following this anyways, and that's going to be the Aerospace Defense, obviously, sector. So swinging on over here, defense and aerospace companies tend to do well under Republican administrations because strong military spending tends to be a Republican priority. This might hold less true over the next 4 years. That's because regardless of who takes the White House, the focus is likely to be normalizing the economy after an upheaval of the COVID-19 pandemic. But all else equal, a Republican administration likely means more defense spending than a Democratic administration. This brings us to Lockheed Martin, makers of the Black Hawk helicopters, the F-16 Fighting Falcon jets, and the Orion spacecraft. Lockheed didn't perform particularly well during the Clinton years, but it enjoyed a nice run during George W. Bush administration. Having two major wars certainly helped. The shares stagnated in the first half of Barack Obama's presidency, though they enjoyed a nice string of positive years during Obama's second term. This aerospace and defense blue chip has done well during the Trump presidency, rising about 64% since the election day in 2016. LMT shares remain reasonably priced at 14 times next year's earnings estimates, which is less than its average over the past year. The share also yields a respectable 2.7% in dividends. Lockheed is a survivor and should do just fine regardless who wins in November, but given the company's history, expect it to be among the better stocks to buy under Trump's presidency. Rightfully so, and I think when you're doing that, I think you can take it a step further and start talking a little bit more about space exploration and some of these up-and-coming SPACs that are obviously getting into this space field. Obviously I think with Virgin Galactic being one, and then obviously you have Momentous coming up as well. I think those are some other avenues at which you could start to look under a Trump re-election. Another stock you can expect to kind of continue up in the upward direction during this, and they're a major e-commerce, and obviously they're a major retail industry, staple, and that's going to be the likes of Walmart. So swinging on over here, the world's largest retailer is doing just fine through the COVID-19 crisis. Unlike many other retailers which were forced to close, Walmart was considered an essential business and allowed to stay open. But Walmart's outperformance isn't just post-COVID phenomena. Walmart has been aggressively building out its e-commerce presence, including online grocery ordering, pickup and delivery, while Amazon.com is still the undisputed leader in the modern retail. Walmart is the only retailer that can credibly compete with Amazon at any real scale. Furthermore, with the economy in bad shape and unemployment at levels previously thought unimaginable, consumers likely will be trading down for the next several years to discount retailers like Walmart. All of these trends were in place long before the election was, obviously on anyone's mind, and all will continue regardless of who takes the White House in November. But a Trump presidency should be a better scenario for the Bentonville giant due to its more relaxed stances on labor issues, you're less likely to see a hike to a federal minimum wage or a push to unionize or provide more generous health benefits under a Trump administration. At the largest private employer in America, that's a big deal. The final sector at which I think we're going to see a successful run-up is going to be obviously with vaccines for the coronavirus. I think all the companies that have really dove in and are trying to, push for a vaccine before the end of the year, I think those stocks, if successful with a vaccine, could really have a monster run. So the likes of a Johnson & Johnson, obviously that is a staple. That's a blue chip. It's been around forever. Pfizer being another one. Then you have the up and comings like Moderna and others that are obviously dabbling in the vaccine. But I think there's going to be a lot of them that could really have an impact as we start to get the vaccines out. And that is one sector that I definitely feel will have a massive run if Trump is reelected. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and hopefully you got some information from this. Like I stated in the beginning, this is not political by any means, but we have to take these into consideration, especially being diverse in our investments. So I just wanted to provide an outlook on if the either option was to happen. I do want to remind you guys, I am not a financial advisor, and anything I say in this video is for pure entertainment purposes only, and hopefully you were entertained. And you guys know how I do it. If you like this video, smash that like button. It helps out tremendously. And if you enjoy the content, because I'm going to keep the content flowing, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And as always, have a good day.